Myself, Dr. P.K. Verma, you all students of biology and the teachers are most welcome in this session. In the previous session, I had discussed the process of transcription, that is synthesis of RNA. And I had said that in eukaryotes, there is a need of post-transcription changes, that is post-transcription processing of the pre-mRNA or pro-mRNA into the functional RNA. So these processes will be discussed here in this session. Processing of heterogeneous nuclear RNA and pro-mRNA. The long chain of RNA that is formed on the genes are called heterogeneous nuclear RNA or hnRNA. It may form the ribosomal RNA or a transfer RNA. But if we term pro-mRNA is used, it means it will form only the messenger RNA, not other RNA. Now you have learned that transcription is the copying of information written on DNA in the same script, that is nucleotides in a gene. So from DNA, a RNA strand is formed using template of DNA. Transcription is the first of the several steps of DNA-based gene expression. That is, transcription, translation, and the modifications of polypeptide structures are the parts of gene expression, in which a particular segment of DNA is copied into RNA, especially messenger RNA, by the enzyme RNA polymerase. Now, this is the structure of core enzyme in prokaryote, made of 5 polypeptides, alpha 2, beta, beta dash, and omega. It becomes associated with sigma factor, a transcription factor, to form holoenzyme. It binds to promoter and then synthesis of RNA or transcription begins. This is the enzyme, and a small segment of DNA comes into the active site of the enzyme. The two strands become unwound, their hydrogen bonds open, so an open complex is formed. The ribonucleoside triphosphates enter into this active site and they form complementary base pairing on the DNA template. The template begins with 3' terminal, and therefore RNA is synthesized from 5' terminal. Template is from 3' to 5', and the synthesis of RNA is from 5' to 3'. Remember it, whether it is DNA synthesis or RNA synthesis, the new strands are always synthesized from 5' terminal to 3' terminal. This is the initiation, elongation, and termination. Sigma factor acts as initiation factor for the RNA polymerase core enzyme, and rho factor acts as termination factor for terminating the process of transcription. In two different genes, Two different strands may act as template. In the first gene, dark blue colored strand is functioning as template for RNA synthesis, but in another gene, the light blue colored strand is functioning as template for RNA synthesis. Of course, the directions are different in these cases because the strands are different. Messenger RNA transcription can involve multiple RNA polymerase on a single DNA template and multiple rounds of transcription, so many messenger RNA molecules can be rapidly produced from a single copy of gene. When transcription proceeds, the first step is formation of a G-methyl cap. A molecule of 7-methyl-guanine, that is a methylated guanine, become attached to the 5' terminal, acts as a G-methyl cap and protect messenger RNA from the action of ribonuclease enzymes. The process of methylation and guanine transfer is done by the enzyme guanyl transferase. This is the addition of methyl guanine here with the help of enzyme guanyl transferase. Now transcription termination in eukaryotes is less well understood than in prokaryotes, but involves cleavage of the new transcript from template independent addition of adenine at its newly 3' end in a process called polyadenylation. That is, after the chain terminates, a polyadenylate chain is attached at the 3' terminal. In eukaryotes, polyadenylation is part of the process of RNA maturation. After polyadenylation, the RNA becomes mature and then it is translated. So all the messenger RNA in eukaryotes have this polyadenylate chains with only a few exceptions. What exception? That of the histone mRNA. Here, this polyadenylate chain at 3' terminal also prevents action of ribonuclease enzyme. Ribonuclease enzyme breaks adenine one after another and takes time to reach the actual length of messenger RNA. So the life of messenger RNA is increased up to 15 minutes, whereas the bacterial mRNA lives hardly for 2 minutes. The histone messenger RNA has no polyadenylate chain, but it has a downstream element, that is a purine-rich sequence. Purine-rich means A and G-rich sequence that directs where the RNA is cut so that the 3' end of the histone messenger RNA is formed. Now see, it is a beautiful video presented by the Education Department of US government, and you should also see how the processing, capping and polyadenylation takes place. I am very thankful to the author, the institution itself, and in good faith I am presenting it without taking express permission of the department.
Before mRNA can be used by ribosomes as a template for building proteins, it must first be processed. Key steps are the addition of a methylated cap and a polyadenylated tail. Involved in processing are RNA polymerase, cleavage factors, and poly-A polymerase. Processing of mRNA begins with transcription. Soon after RNA polymerase begins transcription, a methylated cap is added to the 5' end. Transcription then continues to completion. Following completion, RNA polymerase releases the capped strand of pre-mRNA. Specific nucleotide sequences in the mRNA are bound by cleavage factors. The 3' end of the mRNA is next moved into the correct configuration for cleavage. Stabilizing factors are then added to the complex. Poly-A polymerase now binds to the mRNA and cleaves the 3' end. The complex begins to dissociate and the cleaved 3' end quickly degrades. Poly-A polymerase now synthesizes the polyadenylated tail by adding adenine residues to the cleavage site. Additional proteins then bind to the tail, increasing the rate at which it grows. When the tail reaches its full length, the poly-A polymerase is signaled to stop adding residues, and the polyadenylation process is completed. The processed mRNA is now ready to undergo splicing in preparation for translation.
So in this video, you have seen the formation of G-methyl cap in the beginning of transcription and formation of polyadenylate chain after the transcription is over. Now come to a new problem found in eukaryotes. It is called a splicing of pro-messenger RNA. Most eukaryotic genes are called split genes because it forms RNA in which in between the coding segments called exons, some non-coding segments introns are interspersed. The exons are useful segments where translation is done, but the introns are useless segments where translation is not done. Therefore, before maturation of the messenger RNA, the introns are to be removed and exons are to be attached together. This process is called tailoring or the splicing of pro-messenger RNA or pre-messenger RNA into the functional messenger RNA. Splicing takes place within nucleus, mostly near the nucleolus, because the enzymes needed are present in nucleolus in abundance. For many eukaryotic introns, splicing is carried out in a series of reactions which are catalyzed by spliceosomes, a complex of small nuclear ribonucleoproteins. For these eukaryotic genes that contains introns, splicing is usually required in order to create an mRNA molecule that can be translated into protein. There are self-splicing introns or the ribozymes capable of catalyzing their own excision from their parent messenger RNA. The first class of intron is self-splicing. See, there are 3 exons and in between them there are 2 introns. So in simple language, when processing, the introns are cut away and the exons are attached together. Introns are cut away and exons are attached together to form the functional messenger RNA. In class 2, a lariat is formed by breakage of the 5' terminal of the intron. This lariat is formed because a molecule of guanine present in the middle segment forms the bond with 3' terminal and allows exon 1 to become attached to exon 2 and exon 2 becomes attached to exon 3. Therefore, by removal of the introns, messenger RNA is formed. Now in class 2 introns, sometimes a spliceosome is needed. In the nucleus, polyuracil molecules, the small nuclear RNA or snRNA are present. They have 300 to 100 to 300 nucleotides. According to their molecular weight, these are named as U1, U2, U4, U5 and U6. Now these small nuclear RNA become bound to proteins having about 100 amino acids and they form the small nuclear ribonucleoproteins, snRNPs. These small nuclear ribonucleoproteins form the spliceosome and the spliceosome acts on pro-messenger RNA. What I said, there are a number of small nuclear RNA, snRNA, having only uracil or polyuracil. They have chain length between 100 to 300 nucleotides. According to their molecular weight, these are named as U1, U2, U4, U5 and U6. They become bound to proteins and form the small nuclear ribonucleoproteins and then they convert into a spliceosome. These spliceosomes act on pro-messenger RNA or the pre-messenger RNA. Now in presence of the spliceosome, the introns are cut and the exons are attached together forming the functional messenger RNA. Thus, splicing is an important process by which the messenger RNA is activated, is converted into active form. In this diagram, it is shown how a lariat is formed. The lariat is formed from the introns and these are removed. Then 2 exons become attached together forming messenger RNA. In the next diagram, you can see that at first a G-methyl cap is formed and then a splicing occurs in the intermediate segments of RNA. After splicing, when RNA is released, polyadenylation occurs and the RNA comes out of nuclear membrane through nuclear pores and comes into cytoplasm where it is translated into proteins. In this way, you have learnt all aspects of RNA synthesis and their processing. In the next session, we shall study different types of RNA and their function. Thank you very much.